Hello, I'm Joe Lyons from KSPA Radio.
And I'm Tracy Davis, City of Ontario Recreation and Community Services Department.
And together we're going to be bringing you the Ontario 4th of July Parade for 2012. Our theme this year, it's a grand old flag. We hope you enjoy what you're about to see. Coming up on the road, we can just about see them now. The Ontario Police Motorcade, which is going to be followed by the Rancho Cucamonga Equestrian Patrol. Here comes the motorcycle patrol coming through. And that, of course, the distinctive siren of the Ontario Motorcycle Patrol. The Ontario Police Motorcade, which is going to be followed by the Rancho Cucamonga Equestrian Patrol. Those would be the guys in the white shirts. Literally, they're the guys in the white shirts with the white hats. And it's made up of the Rancho Cucamonga City Sheriff's Department, which is part of the County Sheriff's Department, of course. And the Equestrian Patrol that you're about to see is going to be led by a gentleman named Captain Mike Newcomb. The patrol coordinators, I worked on this one for the last half hour, Sergeant Gary Odebrowski. Did I do that right? That was pretty close.
Perfect.
Okay, Deputies Reggie Pia, and Dave King and Curtis Pitts. 30 volunteers in the Sheriff's Department training to augment the normal police services with additional eyes and ears, and nothing controls a crowd like a great big horse. Opening banner, theme banner is coming up, the Independence Celebration. Well, of course it is. And right behind the initial banner, as I said, the theme banner, which pronounces that our theme today, as you mentioned earlier, is It's a Grand Old Flag. And right behind that is Cub Scout Pack 309. I remember being a Cub Scout myself, but that was a couple of years ago.
And they look adorable in their uniforms, too.
Sharp troops.
Our thanks to them for carrying those flags. They're quite heavy.
Indeed.
Each of the 50 states represented, our sister countries.
There's actually Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. They've been carrying the flag in this parade for more than 17 years. And by the way, this marks the 100th anniversary of the Eagle Scout Award. 2012 does. I never quite got that far. I got stopped at the Morse code. So, and they still required, I understand, in order to make Eagle Scout. It's quite a trick. And the demands of making that rank are heavy.
And where would they be without the parents? We appreciate them bringing up the rear.
Always. The NJROTC Chaffey High School, that's Reserve Officer Training Corps. It says NJ, but it's really Naval Junior ROTC is what the NJ stands for. Regarded as one of the top units nationwide, they carry the designation of Distinguished Unit, which allows them to wear the appropriate decorations. Unit commander is Cadet Brianna Machado. She's a senior at Chaffey. The executive officer is Jose Macias. And their color guard is being led by Daniel Rubio, the naval instructor. Petty Officer First Class Irving McNeil, U.S. Navy retired. And our first marching band is coming up. Judging by that bright orange and black, I would say that's got to be Chaffey coming down the road. Chaffey High School Marching Band, Tiger Pride. They've been a state finalist at Southern California JA Championships for the past 6 years, including the state champion 09. And they've traveled to San Francisco, San Diego, Las Vegas, Hawaii, and Florida. And they are hosting 2 field snow tournaments this fall. They're already beginning fundraising for the European Tour in 2015. They're looking sharp.
Right at the Tigers. We appreciate the dedication of these young folks to come out today since it is summer break.
It is. Cheryl Leone, First Lady of the City of Ontario. She looks sharp in that Corvette.
He's a hard-working man. He's walking behind.
Aha. Shaking hands with the crowd. Few treats for the crowd. Here comes the cars of the Ontario City Council, Sheila Motz and family.
Mayor Pro Tem, driven today by Ontario Recreation and Community Services driver Yves Sal Nunez.
In a big pick-em-up truck comes Councilman Alan Wapner and family, dressed out in red, white, and blue.
Their driver today is Brandon Lucian.
Following that in the Mustang, a man who served the City of Ontario in several different capacities over several years, City Councilman Jim Bowman.
His black Mustang is being driven today by Maureen Duran.
And in keeping with the roots of his service to the city, he's wearing his Ontario Fire Department cap. If I'm right, next coming up should be Deborah Dorse-Parada, City Council. Well, it looks like she's out on the street too. Her car is following along with her. Those who know and love her call her DDP. Her car just happens to be the said Ontario Free car. I believe that's her car that she personally had painted to promote the concept.
Gosh, that's a great plane her sister did.
Indeed. From the United States Congress, Congressman Joe Baca coming through in his Mustang.
His driver today is Ricardo Medina.
More than any other thing, I see Joe Baca out golfing at tournaments with me.
Well, I'm a proponent of recreation, so I love that.
There you go. State Senator Gloria Negrete-McLeod from the 32nd District.
And she's being driven today by none other than Amber Fazler-Raymond.
From the State Assembly comes the former mayor of Pomona, now State Assembly person Norma J. Torres.
Her driver today is Cristina Munoz.
Other representatives, this is the city clerk for the City of Ontario, Mary Huertas, and her family, her two grandsons waving their flags.
And their driver today is Ramona Almendarez.
City Treasurer James Milheiser.
Joined today by his son, and their driver today is Patricia Moyer.
A classic, an early 50s or is it a late 40s Plymouth. It's black plate, it's got to be an old one. Eric Hopley's the police chief riding in it, of course.
That beautifully restored Plymouth can be seen at the Ontario Police Museum at 2500 South Archibald Avenue.
And representing our sister city, Dr. Gonzalo Camacho Aguilar, President of the Municipality of Guamuchil, Mexico.
His driver today, none other than our own Ruth Marthe.
Our Grand Marshal and Volunteer of the Year, Irene Gertz, just announced last Friday that she was the Volunteer of the Year for the City of Ontario. Her star will be up over at the Senior Center along with the others in many years.
We appreciate all of the efforts of our volunteers throughout the city.
Speaking of the Police Museum, the Police Museum 911 cars. This is the City of Ontario in conjunction with actor Kevin Major Howard. Kevin Howard has starred in any number of movies, including Starface and Sudden Impact. He's been on television in a great number of TV shows like The A-Team and others. But he has helped put together memory of the 9/11 first responders at Ground Zero. This is a salute not only to the Twin Towers victims, but also to those of the Pentagon as well. And this is going to be on display here in Ontario for a while, I believe,
yes,
right down at the Jack Mercer Bandstand. right here on Euclid.
And we encourage everyone to take the time to read the names from those who've perished.
Right, you can see the names and the site, the 9/11 World Trade Towers, the Pentagon. And the 9/11 flight victims as well, those that were aboard the aircraft. And finally, a special car, the officer down car, in memories of those who protected and served the United States. The Chino Police Mounted Posse. Coming up the road from Chino, nonprofit community service organization enjoying a unique relationship with the community of Chino, as well as other communities in Southern California. And here's one of the traditional favorites, one of the hallmarks of the city of Ontario. There's maybe 2 or 3 businesses here that we salute as being special, that define the city. And nothing does it quite so well as the Graver Olive House. It looks like Cliff Graver himself driving that. Here comes the Ontario High School Entertainment Corps. That's another name for marching band, along with the flag troops. Drum Major Anthony Cabrera. The Entertainment Corps is made up of the drum line, led by Juan Salazar, the OHS Color Guard, led by Diana Castellanos, and of course, you can hear them, the award-winning band.
The first of many, we hope, traditional marching songs.
And it says it all on the banner. Happy 4th of July from Ontario High.
OHS Jaguars.
Here comes a beauty. The Kinley family here in Ontario coming up with their fully restored 1921 Nash 5-passenger touring car, representative of a family car of the early 1920s, type you would have seen parked up and down the street. Actually, you do see when you see those old black and white photos of downtown Ontario. Car is owned and maintained by the Kinleys of Ontario. It's got an overhead valve, straight 6-cylinder engine, and an electric starter. Sounds like lyrics to a Beach Boys song. Oh, this is not just a float. This is a big float. This is a dignitary float sponsored by Young Holmes, County Supervisor Gary Ovitt, covering the district in the city of Ontario.
And a lot of mayors.
A lot of mayors up there. I see Mayor Paul, mayor of Montclair, and Bill Rue, one of his council people. Who else can you recognize up there?
Former mayor. Millheiser.
Introducing Gary Seal, the 4th District Supervisor, Gary Ovitt, and riding on Reggie King, Young Holmes float. Gary, Independence Day.
Kurt Hagman, Gino Felipe, John Duttry, Paul Gomez, Kathy Brugger, Aquanetta Warren from Fontana, Ray Musser.
Happy Independence Day, Bob.
Oh, another beautiful car. This is a 1955 Chrysler Imperial Newport, 2-door, restored to original condition, 331 CI Hemi engine, 4-barrel carb, equipped with power brakes and steering, power antenna. And the nice thing about a car like that, being as I work for an AM radio station, is it's only got an AM radio in it.
That's great.
None of that foolish FM business. Old style technology reigns. Here's the Riverside Kingsman from Riverside King High School. Charles Gray is the director of their band. band has some movie creds. They've been in Gary Marshall's Valentine's Day. They appeared on Harry's Law. They have been in the New Year's Day Parade in London, England. And they plan to return to Pasadena in 2014 for the Rose Parade.
Again, we can't say enough about the dedication of the parents and young people getting up super early to be a part of this historic parade.
Here comes a whole row of classic automobiles. I do love these. So, if I'm correct, let's see, there should be a 1939 Master Deluxe, followed by a 48 Chevy. That would be the really dark green one there. Everybody's favorite, 57 Chevy. This one in station wagon format. Just can't find enough of the 57 Chevys. A 58 Impala right behind it. '58 Lowrider Impala, pardon me.
And as the kids would say, that's totally tricked out.
It is. Well, so is this Impala. The Chevy coming up behind it there. A 50 Fleetline Chevy. A 65 Chevy Impala. Super Sport. The California Youth Spirit Corps is on their way up. 24 years of spirit. CYSC All-Stars. They cheer, they dance. They got a drill team. They were formed in 1987 by Dolores Cohen, whose instructors are Devin Hall, Judy Holquin, and Amber Rivers. These kids range in ages from 5 to 14. They're from Yucca Valley, and they're here to perform their award-winning routines. Their program teaches teamwork, physical fitness, confidence, and coordination, all in one super fun environment. CYSC All-Stars march in all the local parades. They perform at many city, school, and sports events. They've been to Dodger Stadium. They've been to Knott's Berry Farm. New members are welcome to join the fun and learn many cheers and dance routines and perform year-round with the California Youth Spirit Corps. New members are welcome to join the fun. Their slogan is "Be active, be healthy, join cheer." And here they come, the California Youth Spirit Corps. Nice thing about marching and performing is on a chilly day like this, they keep warm while we just sit here. Here is the Ontario City Library, presenting their Dream Big Read spectacular entry. Summer Reading Club began on June 2nd for children. Years ago when I was a kid, I said I want to read all science fiction books in the summer, and my teacher said, you can't do that. Now they have whole special, they got a science fiction department, a Western department, and a fantasy department.
Our thanks to the library for showing us all their departments today. We're represented by the children's section, the young adult section, and the adult reference section.
Providing real children and real adults. Herencia Chara is a group of charros, the majority of them local from right in the Ontario area. Group of charros who continue the charming tradition since a young age. The tradition has been passed down for many generations. A charro, if you're wondering, is a person who's able to train their horse and is able to compete in the various types of equestrian competitions, including doing the ranch work. Charros spend many hours and lots of dedication in training their horses, and they continue to pass down their tradition.
Including some really good rope work.
Indeed.
perfectly groomed horses, the saddles, the blankets, the outfits.
Oh,
they're
the
all
horse
stunning.
itself is beautiful.
And they don't mind showing off a bit, do they?
Ah.
Hours and hours of training go into each and every one of these. Buenos dias.
And you can believe those horses enjoy showing off just as much as their riders. $16 horses in all, along with a mariachi band just to keep the rhythm. Here's an exciting entry coming up. This is the Inland Christian Home. They're located on Mountain Avenue in Ontario, providing quality care to seniors in Ontario since 1973, offering various levels of independent and assisted care all in one campus. Celebrating America's birthday with some beautiful classic cars and trucks. Inside the vehicles, some of the Inland Christian Home's very own American heroes, residents who have served in the U.S. military, and we salute and thank them today. Included in the collection of classic cars coming up, if we get it in the right order, a 1922 Ford Model T touring car. That's it right there. Followed by a 1924 Ford Model T car. Behind the 1924 Ford is a 26 Ford Model T Custom Sedan and a 29 Ford Model A Tudor.
Special license plates on these cars identifying them as a horseless carriage.
Indeed. Others was simply the historical license plate. There's a 1948 Chevy two-door coming our way here. That's a beautiful little thing. A 56 Ford F100 pickup, which is towing a 1950 teardrop trailer. I don't see the trailer. Did we lose the trailer? I hope not.
Someone somewhere is enjoying it.
Could be. A 1960 Pontiac Bonneville is coming down the road there. There's the Ford F100. Now, it doesn't show on my list, but I would think that's a 1959 Chevy right there. Here comes the Pontiac Bonneville. And there's the teardrop trailer. So that's going to be the 56 Ford F100 pickup.
Those teardrop trailers are made right here in Ontario.
Chevy Super Sport 402 from 1971, driven by the original owner. And a 78 Ranchero. Ah, here comes the Peterbilt. With a matching Indian motorcycle on the back and a hand-painted mural on the backside of the truck portraying the truck. And a follow-up band from the Inland Christian Home, MultiLevel Senior Living Community. What would a parade be without the Shriners and their little bitty vehicles? I think there's a law in the state of California that when you have to have Shriners and they have to bring out their little bitty vehicles.
And they have to wear the red fez.
Well, of course. These are the Los Nietos Valley Shrine Club. Their miniature cars are all from the Southern California area. This troop was organized in 1967. They've been in 400 parades and benefits in all parts of the U.S. They perform in support of the Shriners Hospital for Children, who remind us that no man stands so tall as when he stoops to help a child. The Los Niños Valley Shrine Club's motto is the club with a heart. And some really little cars. This is the Emeritus at Victorian Court, Senior Retirement and Assisted Living. They encourage everyone to come by and tour the community, witness firsthand their passion for service to seniors.
Their bus was full of residents. We're happy they joined us today from the comfort of inside the bus.
They're probably warmer than everybody else here today, that's for sure.
I believe.
And from up the road and just down Foothill Boulevard, we welcome the Upland High School Regiment.
The Regiment Corps is also well known for their participation in local contests. They're some big trophy winners in past years.
And of course, being a Scotsman, it wouldn't be right without the bagpipes.
Upland High Color Guard.
Indeed. Always remember that Sean Connery, besides being James Bond, is a very militant, patriotic Scotsman. But in the movie The Longest Day, before he was well known, he had the line, "It takes an Irishman to play the pipes." I figure they must have paid him extra to say that.
Indeed.
Either that or it's one of those things he's regretted ever since. A lot of people will recognize this cow coming down the road. It's everyone's favorite Bossy, known for saying her favorite motto, and they don't have to pay her much to remind everybody to eat more beef. It's the Chick-fil-A cow. Chick-fil-A proclaiming that they are the home of the original chicken sandwich. Walking along with the cows are Deanna McBride, the marketing assistant for Chick-fil-A, Ontario Mills Parkway. Mac McCaslin, team member for the Ontario Mills Parkway location. For those of you that haven't figured it out, that's the one right across the street, kind of to the south of the Ontario Mills Mall. The Ontario Ovation Twirlers. These look like your people, Ontario Parks and Recreation.
We love the class, we appreciate them being here today, and we look forward to gaining more students as you watch them perform this morning.
They invite you to come twirl with us. Tried that once. Had to learn to write left-handed for a couple of months. More classic automobiles. Pomona Valley Model A Ford Club. That's right. They've all got Model A Fords. You didn't know there were that many of them all still together. They also dress and carry on traditions of the early 30s in America. They say that, like the U.S. Marine Corps, we're always looking for a few good men and women and cars. So if you've got one in the back of your garage under an old tarp, dust it off, bring it on down. They'd love to see you. It's a grand day for the Ugahorn. 1931 Ford pickup truck. Clearly before the days of the F-150. But still, I think I made a plastic model of that from a Revell Authentic kit once when I was a kid. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that's more like a Datsun and not so much like a Ford Model T. This is from Guards Ontario Music on G Street.
And that is one large flag.
That is. That's practically, well, not quite garrison size, but Guards Ontario Music is proud of the flag in their country. There's not another flag on the planet, they say here, that deserves as much respect. Guards says, God bless America. And here from the Pomona Valley, the Habitat for Humanity. And just because it says Pomona Valley doesn't mean Ontario does not benefit. I've been to several homes in the Ontario area that Pomona Valley Habitat for Humanity has helped put together. They're in their 21st year. They're completing the 43rd house rehabilitation project in Rancho Cucamonga.
They encourage first-time homeowners to put a little sweat equity into what they would like to live in for their future. The Lucky 7 stables are also a part of the recreation department. You're welcome to sign up at our recreation facilities for one of their classes. Learn to ride.
Still more of the Lucky 7 people and their horses and their dogs and their ponies. Are those ponies or are those little horses?
I believe they're Shetland ponies.
Uh-huh. I'm never sure. I just found out yesterday that there's a difference between angel hair pasta and thin spaghetti. Who knew?
Children are taught in a safe environment, and you'll notice all of the riders under age 21 are wearing helmets for their protection.
Never thought of that. Which probably accounts for why I am the way I am.
We want to give a special shout out to the guys from the Parks Department who are diligently following every equestrian group to take care of Mother Nature.
This is your city, keep it clean. From Northview High School in Covina. Came all the way over Kellogg Hill just to be with us today. The spirit of Northview. Under the direction of Alan Casey, Drum Major Anthony Casas, and Color Guard Captain Michelle Maya, the spirit of Northview would like to wish everyone a happy 4th of July.
As the sun breaks through here on our parade today, we're reminded those uniforms can become very, very warm, and we're appreciative that the people wore them today in honor of our 4th of July parade.
I notice it warms up about 3 degrees just with the sunshine coming out. You make a fantastic weather girl. Person. Here comes an old buddy of mine, and I'm glad to see out for the parade today, representing the Esperanza Scholarship Foundation, Tom Burciaga and friends. There are those people who have been known to call Tom Mr. Ontario for as many community events and programs and charitable operations he has contributed and personally volunteered for. In fact, now that I mention it, he's got a sign at his own parade that says Mr. Ontario. Tom and the Esperanza Scholarship Fund saluting the veterans of World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Some of them specifically by name and face, as he has posters up. World War II vet Tony Flores, Herman Morgana from Korea, David Gallegos from the U.S. Navy, Jesus Lopez in the Air Force, and that's Tom Burciaga as a young man in uniform. Who'd have thunk it? The Norco Charles now join us. We explained earlier the Charles are a combination of specially trained horse and its master or mistress. Norco Charles consists of men, women, boys, and girls riding and striving to keep the Charles tradition of Mexican horseback riding alive in the U.S. Several members have participated in parades in both Mexico and California. And by the way, the traditional attire worn by the participants represents centuries of Mexico culture. And suits they are defined as a work of art. Norco Charles from Norco, Mexican Charles from Mexico, keeping the Charles tradition of Mexico alive. And they're proud to be from Norco, California. It's the Ontario American Legion Post 112, as well as the Sons of the American Legion Squadron 112, and the American Legion Women's Auxiliary Unit 112. They were winners of last year's Chaffey Trophy for Best Historical Depiction. They feature a Liberty Bell made out of exactly 1,776 paper flowers. That number is significant because it is 1776. American Legion is the nation's largest veteran service organization, committed to mentoring youth and the sponsorship of community programs. Needless to say, the Legion advocates patriotism and honor, promotes a strong national security, and unrelentless support of veterans' causes, as well as active duty armed forces personnel keeping the peace throughout the world. Supporting the troops and hoping they come home soon. The Ontario American Legion Post 112.
And winners of today's Judge Choice Award.
It's the Chaffey Joint Union High School District. The board president, Sherry McGough. That's why Andy is driving today. I wondered why you're here, Andy. Andy's driving his wife, Sherry. That explains it all. And Josie Estrada is the clerk of board for the high school district. And following them comes the Rancho Cucamonga Marching Cougars.
Their award-winning band has performed throughout the United States and Europe.
Indeed. And a number of locations in Southern California, the Western Band Association as well. The Ontario Montclair School District is coming up. I can tell from here that's Sam Crow in the first Mustang.
Serving as the board's president this year.
Sam's a busy guy for a guy who's supposed to be retired. He's also president of Travelers Aid. He spoke a couple of weeks ago at the Friends of the Airport meeting. He's riding with his lovely wife Annette and his granddaughter Fiona. Elvia Rivas from the school district board of trustees. She's also active in Kiwanis and serves on the California, Nevada, Hawaii district of Kiwanis International. Chris Brake is in the next car. Mrs. Brake plays an active role with the Ontario Montclair School District, has for over 15 years as a school volunteer. Paul Vincent Avila, decorated Vietnam combat veteran, originally elected to the board back in 1993, re-elected in 05. He's been in Ontario for over 33 years. He's got me beat by 3 years. And board member Mo Mendoza, elected to the board in 08. Her youngest son, Nathaniel, currently attending Chaffey High School.
Well, it's
and
cute.
I don't think that's a regular bus from the school district.
And it has
This
its
one
own
is.
name, though. It's called Jumpstart.
Is that what it is? So they use it on cold mornings when the battery won't crank?
That's correct.
School superintendent, district superintendent James Hammond in the real Ontario Montclair school bus.
Waving
Those are
from the
students
windows.
and families riding in the bus, along with the district superintendent. He and his family, his wife Kamei, the children James, Maya Marie, and Marisa May. Bernardo de Galvez, Hispanic hero of the American Revolution, saluted over the years by such eminence as Ronald Reagan, and saluted here today.
Contributions made by Galvez helped to win the war for us during the American Revolution and prompted the naming of a Texas town. Maybe you've heard of it? Galveston.
I did not know that.
More than
We
10
all know how the French came over to save us at the last minute, but many people missed that part of the story.
Authentic Aztec dancers today, also in honor of his contributions and those of many other Latino members of our society.
The Spanish and Hispanic American contribution to the Revolutionary War has caused them to be known as our forgotten allies. I'm seeing a whole lot of Chevys coming along, and I'm thinking these are not the Inland Empire Volkswagen.
I
group
don't
that
believe
it
they
says on the
are.
sheet.
But as you know your car's much better than I.
Still continuing the honor to Bernardo de Galvez. That was not an Uga horn.
No, what's
That was an Uga horn. The 60s era Chevrolets. Was there ever an automobile line made? The Impalas, the Super Sports. And the Chevy's now dropping back into the 40s, 50s era. The Deluxe Fastback.
photo opportunities abound.
Those hydraulic lifts were not stock, you know.
No. Bernardo del Galvez is honored with a statue in Washington, D.C. to commemorate the contributions of the 10,000 men who helped to win the Revolutionary War all around the Gulf of Mexico.
This is the organization instead celebrating their 10th anniversary and their 4th year in the Ontario 4th of July Parade. They meet the second Saturday of every month at the Red Robin in Rancho Cucamonga. If you own an air-cooled or water-cooled VW, or if you're just a VW enthusiast, they hope you'll come out and see them. They can be found on Facebook under Inland Valley Volkswagen. They support the Loma Linda Ronald McDonald House. Their activities include cruises, car shows, and a yearly poker run. Now that's a hardcore Marine looking VW there, I gotta tell you.
My first car, a 1959 Volkswagen.
Aha. Of course, it wouldn't be complete without a VW bus. Traditional surf transportation for Southern California. And a Volkswagen Thing with a Thing trailer. And the Thing trailer comes complete with bar stool and barbecue for emergency party purposes. You never know.
You never know.
Come around the corner and somebody's going to say, pull in here and party. Knights of Columbus are coming up now, the largest Catholic family fraternal organization. Over 1.8 million members worldwide, formed to render financial aid to members, and their family's social and intellectual fellowship is promoted among members and the families through education, charitable, religious, social, welfare, war relief, and public relief works. Today's group is led by fourth degree senior knight of the De Anza Assembly and consists of members from councils in Ontario, Montclair, Chino, Rancho Cucamonga, Fontano, and Chino Hills. I wondered what that one said. One nation under God. Little kids wearing t-shirts that say Future Knights. Now, these are the Chaffey Community Republican Women's Federated Club. And I don't know if it says in here why all the women are dressed as Abraham Lincoln today. I guess it's in tribute to Abraham Lincoln in the little car. Abraham Lincoln, of course, originally a Whig, but eventually one of the leaders of the Republican Party in his time, the great emancipator. This should be the Montclair High School marching band, the mighty marching band. They are the Cavaliers. They come from Montclair, California, under the direction of Douglas McKenna Jr. They've been going through a growth spurt since '09, increasing from only 18 members to 78. That's probably practically just a jazz group. They're now 78 strong as of 2011, and a portion of the program is with us today, 50 of them altogether. Little known fact about the city of Montclair was originally, when they incorporated, going to be called Monte Vista, as is their water district. Then they discovered that the post office had a delivery district in Northern California called Monte Vista, so they had to come up with another name.
Again, our thanks for the 7 bands for joining us today to make this a true 4th of July parade.
Bob Obermeyer celebrating America, but with a presentation of American automobiles and American kids. That's our sweepstakes award winner coming down the road there. Enough balloons in that truck to practically lift it up. This truck represents the Ontario Elks Lodge. Lodge number 1419, established back in 1921. Presently headed by their exalted ruler, Betty Schwartz. They take pride in the many organizations and youth programs that they provide. It says so right there on the side of the truck. The scholarship program, the veterans program, the vision screening, the drug awareness, and support for disabled children. Followed immediately by the Red, White, and Blue Award. As we said, our grand old flag is the theme for this year's parade. And here comes the Marine Corps League. This is Detachment 965 with a reenactment, a live reenactment of the flag raising on Mount Suribachi in Iwo Jima. The detachment welcomes all Marines and Fleet Marine Force corpsmen. The league also sponsors the Young Marine riding on the float. They meet at Cable Airport, which is in Upland, off of, is it Baseline?
Yes.
Baseline. Always confusing. Things on Baseline I look for on Foothill, and things on Foothill I look for on Baseline. The raising of the flag on Iwo Jima, one of the great patriotic moments of World War II.
Youth Expression Award winners this year to
Yep.
Granite Creek Community Church.
Featuring the Statue of Liberty high above the crowd. Exhorting family and friends of the church family presented for all. Granite Creek Church is a home of fall into fun and the Living Nativity community events, presented for all to enjoy every year in October and December.
Kudos to Miss Liberty for hanging on up there.
Indeed. The Ontario Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, a nonprofit organization founded in the year 2000 with the goal of promoting business development. Two important festivals in the year, Cinco de Mayo and Fiestas Patrias, which they hold educational seminars, toy drives, and give out scholarships as well. Various different community businesses, each sponsoring one vehicle in the stretch of the parade for the Ontario Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Acharo Enterprise coming up on the next one. Good looking silver Corvette. Taquiera Tamazolina. I'm taking the easy ones for you.
I appreciate that.
Mendoza Productions. The White Eagle Health and Rejuvenation Club.
Beautiful folklorico dress.
Indeed. The Black Sheep VFW. Post 11546. Out of Chino and Chino Hills, representing all the branches of the military and all the wars that we have had to fight in. There was a time that I unfortunately lived through when you were ashamed to walk down the street in a uniform or any symbol of the fact that you'd served. Those days are gone, I'm delighted to say. A lot of the members of this VFW, you notice, wear the black hats with the gold lettering from the type of service and the era in which they served. This is Mercy House, local charitable organization helping to end homelessness in Orange County and the San Bernardino County as well. 1952 Farmall H tractor from McCormick. Decked out in the flags of the various services. By the way, that tractor was restored at Flaybob Airport near Riverside. And VFW Post 10489 from Upland, California, the Chaffey Heritage Award. Presenting as they do, it's a grand old flag, an organization over 100 years old, made up of combat veterans from the various wars. Upland Sea Cadets and ROTC members are also there, along with a number of Boy and Girl Scouts. Classic 1942 U.S. Army Jeep. Most unusual entry, military vehicle with a solo trumpet as opposed to a full marching band. Here comes the sound of some fun music. This is Pacific Youth Cheer. It's a cheer and dance group sponsored by Stevens Hope. My buddy Tony putting together an organization to salute the tragic loss of one of his children. The cheer and dance group for children is directed by Michelle Johns. Her coaches are Cassidy Conley, Tina Capacito, Joanne Hernandez, Monique and Christine Torres, Crystal Washington, Christina Rodriguez. They teach children ages 4 to 14 the basic fundamentals of cheer and dance while providing a safe, positive, and fun atmosphere, offering cheerleading, dance, and gymnastics in various cities in the Inland Empire.
Those little girls giving it all.
Yeah.
They perform at area football games, basketball games.
God bless our Ontario firefighters!
This is the Chino Tea Party. Their flatbed entry. Inland Valley Patriots Kenny Coble would like to thank God, the Founding Fathers, and the men and women of the United States, military past and present. A couple of beautiful golden retrievers there too.
Community Service Award goes out today to the Redeemer Lutheran Church and School.
This is Redeemer Lutheran Church and School. They offer a Christian care summer day camp for children. Vacation Bible School starts up the week of July 23rd through the 27th. Their mission statement is reaching, teaching, and nurturing a thirsty world with the good news of Jesus Christ.
Emphasizing their Indonesian worship group in native costume.
Our Lady of Lourdes School from Montclair. Established in 1959 to provide Catholic education to the children of the Montclair area. They serve preschool through 8th grade and continually strive for excellence in its instructional program with strong Catholic organization. Present are some of the students along with the principal, Mrs. Diaz de Leon, and some of the parents and staff as well. I have learned from experience when you drive through a parade with speakers on your roof, don't forget to take them down when the parade is over. You drive home in that vehicle and don't, they blow off. It's rather embarrassing. The SoCal Teardrops. We've seen a couple of these little trailers come by before. This is a representative of the organization.
Mike and Gabe Perry right here in Ontario putting together this wonderful tradition since the 1950s.
Little bitty things, not quite what you would expect today if you had one of the great big motorhomes to travel around the country in. But you said they were made here in Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the Flatirons. Now that one's decked out for partying in the back end. Well, everyone's a patriot on the 4th of July, but we've seen a few expressions of politics as we've gone through the morning. Inland Valley Democratic Club is coming up next. They were first funded in '06 to organize the Democrats in the community of Upland, Rancho Cucamonga in Ontario. It's their 3rd year participating in the parade. And they're led by Loretta Arenas, parliamentarian Terry Owen, Secretary David Schultz, Treasurer, Terry Massey, Vice President, and Eric Jimenez, the President of the Inland Valley Democratic Club. Oh, it's a cupcakery.
Eat more cupcakes.
Okay, but the other one said eat more beef. Chaffey High School, Navy Junior ROTC, or NJROTC. That's a 1944 half-ton four-wheel drive flatbed Ford. Originally, it was a fuel tanker.
United States of America, if you're proud, make some noise out there. Yeah. Happy 4th of July. Happy 4th to everybody out there. Much love and respect to every one of you. Yeah, there's a party going on over here. Come on, I'm living in America. Yeah, come on. Come on. Yeah.
The Ontario Classic Car Club. Actually, Car and Bike Club.
Fueling the passion for bikes and classic
Tricked
cars.
out bicycles. Who'd have thunk? And the classic cars themselves. Of course, a black and purple side panel van. Well, must have seen one somewhere. By the way, the car club does more than just polish their cars all the time. They raise money for money and food for the homeless, and they host the car shows to raise funds for local charities, for local high schools, football programs, car washes, fundraisers to help kids learn good values, keep the youth off the street and away from drugs and gangs. Okay, he's got it up on 3 wheels. Bet he can't do 2. You're noticing again, I'm sure, those late 50s, early 60s Chevys. Some sort of purple color cabriolet. Now that one, I know the color, it's green.
That is a beautiful green. An incredibly large car club.
Yep. You notice in the back deck of these vehicles, they all have the Chrome Ontario Car Club logos.
Pride of ownership is amazing.
Well, the Rotary Club just had an event about a month ago here in downtown Ontario along the median strip. The amount of, the number of vehicles, the amount of money they put into them, shining them up, polishing them up, chroming them up. It's the City of Ontario's Set Ontario Free campaign, representing the City Council's commitment to regain local control of Ontario International Airport. Today, over 110 formal support endorsements have been received from all over Southern California, and they ask for the help of the City of Ontario to gain local control of Ontario International Airport by visiting the campaign website at setonteriofree.com. As they say, that's all one word. Sign up the online petition, and also liking the campaign on Facebook at Set Ontario Free. Together, they're hoping to, they got Frisbees too. They're hoping to restore the region's most valuable economic and jobs engine. I'm going to ask you to tell us about these people here. They look like your people. City of Ontario Recreation and Community Services.
This is an outstanding organization, the Teen Action Committee, representing 4 of our local community centers, each of their centers represented by a different colored shirt. The teens are encouraged to participate, learn self-help skills, prepare themselves for future life, They took a competition to the extreme, and each one of those carts was judged independently for its authenticity, originality, as well as its diverse background. Our kudos to the Teen Action Committee, also known as TAC.
And Ontario Recycles. This has got to be what's commonly referred to as solid waste department.
And Recycle-Roo.
Is that what that little character is up there on the top?
Encouraging us to reduce, reuse, and recycle. Good morning, Mr. Joe. Glad to see you.
They're even bigger than the fire trucks. Speaking of which, closing out the 4th of July parade comes the Ontario Fire Department, Chief Floyd Clark. And who doesn't like the sound of a fire truck, the looks of it coming down the street? That first one being a combination pumper and paramedic vehicle. And the big old hook and ladder coming through. Periodically, they do a display with this unit where they'll run that ladder all the way up with a fireman up on top of it. I wouldn't do it. They couldn't pay me to do it. And the sound of the police car coming by tells us that the parade has come to an end. We hope you've enjoyed this celebration of America's birthday as we celebrate 236 years of American independence with the parade in downtown Ontario, a tradition that itself has lasted how long? 39 years now? More than that.
Yes, much more. Since 1939.
Pardon me. Okay, so somebody do the math on that and figure it out. It's a day of fun and activity in the city of Ontario, and we've been proud and happy to be a part of it and share it with you.